29 Premiere shortcuts I wish I knew when I started. Check these tips out to fly around your sequence. Moving around the timeline. If you're in a position like this, you can get a quick overview of your entire sequence by pressing one key, and that's /. Then just press it again to go back to where you were. So that's / to see the full width of the sequence, but to see the full height, press Shift and minus. Then Shift and plus will expand it again. So Shift and minus, Shift and plus. But for more incremental control over the height of your video tracks, use Control and minus to reduce the height depending on how many times you tap it. And of course Control and plus to increase the height in the same way. And if you switch it to the Alt key, you get the same control, but this time over the audio. But let's get the full view again, so Shift and minus, /. To expand and contract the timeline, use the plus and minus keys. And to expand the timeline in a particular position, like over this yellow clip, move the playhead to the position you want to expand and then press the plus key. Tap the minus to detract the sequence again. We can then move to an earlier part of the sequence, press the plus, same deal, new position. The easiest way to scroll back and forwards on the sequence is by using the scroll wheel on the mouse. Hold down Control and scroll to move up and down. If you hold down the Alt key and scroll, it expands and detracts the sequence. But this time it focuses on where the mouse is and not the playhead. So wherever you put the mouse is where it expands into and out again. So again, if we move to the end of the sequence, Alt and scroll takes us in and out of the yellow clip. And then again, if we move more central, same deal there. And this next one is one I stumbled across but now use all the time. Hold down Alt and hover the mouse over this area here, then scroll. It will increase or decrease the height of the individual video or audio track that you hovered over. Just remember that a pointer has to be in this section here. I've had some comments asking how the clips are moving on their own. It's similar to how we move the playhead. The left and right keys move 1 frame left or right. Press Shift and left to go 5 frames to the left and Shift and right 5 to the right. We can move clips in the same way but with one addition, and that's the Alt key. Select the clip you want to move, then press Alt and the arrow keys to move the clip about. Each tap is 1 frame and you can go left, right, up and down. And of course, if you add Shift into the mix, that gives you 5 frames. So Alt plus Shift and then an arrow key moves a clip 5 frames along. Most editors know about the I and O keys. To create an in point, press I, and to create an out point, press O. But perhaps not as many editors know that you can create in and out points around any selection using one key, and that's /. We can select 2 clips, / or all the clips, /. Tip number 12, use presets for speed. Another surefire rocket boost to your editing is to use presets instead of making effects from scratch. As an example, we can easily liven up this intro here with the title and the cut between the 2 scenes. With pre-made presets, it's a lot faster than if we were to start making the effects from scratch. So I'll demonstrate first with the text here, and I'm looking for an animation to fade the text up and in. This one will do. I'll drag it over to my 2 selected text clips, drop it on, and we have this. And now let's quickly chuck on an animation to fade it out. Cool. For tips on how to make your own presets, check out some of the tutorials on the Solid Coast channel, or if you'd prefer to skip all that, click the link in the description. It will take you to the Solid Coast presets, which I use in my own productions, which really help me steam through the edit quickly whilst also keeping it looking slick. I've just added a quick animation to make that first scene fall away. So as you can see, with presets, you can just bang them on. We didn't even touch keyframes. Big time saver. Tip number 13, before starting, probably should have been number 1, but one of the main things that slows us down as editors is our actual system. So with this in mind, before we start any project, to give Premiere Pro the best chance of playing back smoothly with minimal lag, hold down the Shift key while opening Premiere to bring up the reset options. Now select the box that says Clear Media Cache Files and press Continue. That frees up disk space, which reduces choppy and laggy playback so you can focus on your work. Tip 14, don't start from scratch. Another thing that will save you loads of time as an editor is not to start from scratch. Instead, create yourself a template project which contains elements, assets and styles that you know you're going to be using again, as well as a folder structure you're familiar with, so you don't have to spend time recreating all this on every project. So in this one, I've got all my sound effects. I've got my library here with graphics, motion graphics and brand colors. I've got another folder here for more visual elements, as well as empty folders ready to go for things like footage and music. So when you're happy, save that. You only need to do this once and then you've got it forever. So when you use it to start your next project, you're already ahead. Just remember to give your new project a different name and save that, and you're good to go. Recycle previous projects. A quick way to grab elements you know you've used before is to open a previous project where those elements were used inside Premiere Pro, so you've got 2 projects open in one Premiere Pro instance, and then you can copy elements from the old project sequence Like here, I want to grab the Premiere Pro icon, so I'm going to select the clip and press Ctrl-C, then move to my current sequence and press Ctrl-V to paste it in with all the animations still intact. You can see the keyframes in the effect controls still there, and you don't have to do it just one element at a time. You can grab a whole section, then paste that in your new timeline, and then you've got a bunch of elements to choose from as you construct your new sequence. Tip number 15, scrubbing. As an editor, it's good to have a quick way to scrub back and forth without having to move the mouse to drag the playhead. For this, the J, K and L keys are your best friends. L takes you forwards, J takes you backwards, and K stops. The more you press them, the faster it goes. So for example, if you hit L 3 times, it will go forward 3 times as fast. You can do the same with J, hit it 3 times, backwards 3 times as fast, K to stop. And if you want to go super slow, hold down Shift as you press the L key to go forward frame by frame. Shift and J will take you back frame by frame again. And you can also use the J, K and L keys in the same way to audition clips in the project bins. And that includes audio as well, so sound effects and music. Tip number 16, insert edit. This one's particularly useful when first selecting your footage. So I want to insert a clip into a cut point, but I don't want to get rid of any clips or overwrite any footage already on the sequence. Rather than create a gap, move clips and then move them back, a quicker way is to hold Control as you drag the new clip onto the timeline. You'll see these lines appear, and as you drop it in over any cut point, it's moved the other clips to the right perfectly so that our new clip can fit into the sequence without overwriting any footage. In essence, it's created a gap, inserted our clip, and then closed the gaps for us. We can also use the same method to shuffle our clips around non-destructively. So that's by selecting a clip, holding Control, dragging to a new position and dropping it. Tip number 17, edit your clips with keys. To select a clip without having to touch the mouse, just press the D key and it will select the clip that the playhead is over. So we can use J, K or L as mentioned earlier to move the playhead over the clip that we want to select. Then we press D to select the clip, and if we want to move to another clip, move along, press D, clip selected. Tip 18, ripple edit. Quick way to edit clips and make them shorter without leaving gaps on either side of the clip is to use a function called ripple edit, and for that we need Q and W. So we want to edit that green clip without touching the mouse. We've used J, K and L to get us to the right position. We can use D to select the clip, and now if we want to trim everything on that clip to the left of the playhead, we just need to press the Q key, which will trim it and automatically nudge all the clips together so there's no gaps, which saves you having to do that manually. Then we can use J, K and L to find the position of the next trim that we want to make, which is here. So now to trim everything to the right of the playhead on our selected clip, press W. And let's trim the clip and nudge the rest of the clips up to close the gaps automatically. And it's just a quick example of how to stack short keys to move around the timeline and edit without touching the mouse. It will make your editing much easier and faster. Tip number 19, replace clips. Let's say we want to replace the yellow clip here with a completely different clip, but when we grab a new clip and drag it to the timeline, we can see it's too big to fit exactly where that yellow clip is, which isn't a massive deal, but it does mean we need to do a bit of editing. I'll just undo that. Or we could skip all that editing by using a function called replace clip, which simply replaces the footage in the existing clip with the new footage. And to do that, just hold down Alt as you drag the clip down onto the timeline and onto the yellow clip, then let go. And as quick as that, the existing footage in the yellow clip has been replaced by the new footage that we dropped into it, already trimmed to the correct length. Tip number 20, slide tool. If you have a trimmed clip already in position with two clips either side, but realise it's been trimmed in the wrong place, for example this scene here with the BMXer, it comes in as he lands his jump instead of when he takes off from the jump, but really I'd like the scene to come in before he takes off to catch the whole trick. We can do this without resizing or disturbing the position of any clips by pressing the Y key, which selects the slide tool, and then to show you what it does, so when you click and drag it does this, and we're basically going to do that but on the footage. So as I click and drag to the right, you can see a split screen which shows us the in point and the out point of the clip. And the in point is now before the rider takes off, and when we play it back from the previous clip, we can see that our newly edited clip now catches the whole trick. And that's without us having to move any clips or disrupt our sequence. Tip number 21, remix tool. If you grab some music and put it on the sequence, but it's too short, you may think that you then need to zoom all the way into the track to find a kick drum, to make a cut, and then do it again to find the end cut of the section that you then need to duplicate however many times to get it to the end of your sequence to end it in the right place and have it all sound seamless. But rather than all that, you can just grab the remix tool, which is this icon here, click the end of your music clip and drag it to where you want it to end. Premiere's AI will do the audio cutting and pasting for you to extend the track, and the result is seamless. Tip number 22, use guides to line things up. If you're lining things up but you need precision, one way to tackle this is to use guides. For that you need rulers, so go to the view menu and down to show rulers. Now hover over the rulers, then click and drag to bring the guides onto the display. So I'm going to use these 3 words here as the basis for a kind of grid that I'll create to help me line up the rest of the words. I'll just speed this up. Okay, so now I have my grid in place with spacing that makes sense. I can now use the lines as guides to arrange my design. And when you're done, to hide those guides, go to View and then deselect Show Guides. Tip number 23, use libraries. If you can't see it straight away, go to Window and then down to Libraries. If you use other creative tools from Adobe, for example Illustrator, by using libraries, I can grab, for instance, this bird graphic, drag it into the library, flip back to Premiere Pro and it's appeared in the library here, and then we can just add it to the sequence. Number 24, quick color tip. When being specific with colors on Premiere Pro, rather than having to go out of Premiere Pro to copy and paste hex codes, a much quicker way is to use the color dropper and have images with your brand colors in a project bin or library. Select a clip with a graphic, click on the color dropper, hover over a color, click and done. And the mad thing about the dropper is it also works outside of Premiere, so you can grab colors from anywhere. Tip number 25, use proxies. Using proxies reduces the file size of the footage that you're using to create your sequence in Premiere without affecting the quality of the final export. In other words, it substitutes the footage that you currently have in your project for compressed versions of that same footage, and it swaps it back when it's time to export, which means that Premiere Pro will find it easier to play back your sequence without glitching out. Here's how it's done. Select all your footage in your project bin and right-click any of those clips. Head down to Proxy and across to Create Proxies. You'll see this dialog box appear, and this is where we can reduce the size of the file by reducing the frame size. I'll keep that set to half, and then on the watermark option, I'll keep that as the proxy icon so we can tell when the proxies are turned on. Then press OK and Premiere will do the rest for you. Adobe Encoder will open up and create the proxy files. So it's created duplicates of our original footage but in a smaller resolution, and it puts that in a folder right next to the original footage. Back in Premiere, we can now see proxy icons on all the clips in the project bin and on the sequence. That slash through the proxy icon means they're not currently turned on, so to turn them on, hit the proxy icon here. And now they're on, we can see a watermark on the monitor, and the icons on the clips are now enabled. So that means Premiere will now run a lot smoother and a lot faster, which of course means your editing will also be a lot smoother and faster. Tip number 26, save layouts as presets. Premiere Pro does have a pre-made selection of layouts, but you can customize your own and save them as presets for future projects. Click and drag the top left corner of any window to position it where you'd prefer it. Right now, I'm just creating a layout which I use to record shorts tutorials with. I'll just grab the timeline, put that down there, and I don't need this window, so I'll right click and close panel. And you get the idea, so I'll just speed this bit up, and then once you're happy with your layout, the important part is to save it. So click this icon here, go down to Save as New Workspace, give it a name, press OK, and now it's there in the menu of Workspaces on every project whenever you need it. To demonstrate, let's revert back to the original workspace. And now if we want to go back to the one we just created, click the workspace icon, look down the list, and there it is. Number 27, sneaky timeline tip. You might have noticed that on playback, when the playhead gets to the end of the screen, the timeline skips to the next section, which isn't always what we want. But check this out, head up to Edit, and then down to Preferences, then click on Timeline, and then up and across to Timeline Playback Auto Scrolling. It's currently set to Page Scroll, but if you set it to Smooth Scroll, and then press OK, now when you play back, the sequence moves along with the playhead. Tip number 28, Rate Stretch. Press the R key for rate stretch, and you can stretch or slow down any clip by selecting the clip and dragging the ends.
So I can stretch this.
Or speed up this sentence and make it really fast.
Same deal with footage. I've split this clip into 2, and with rate stretch selected, just click and drag to stretch the second clip for a slow-mo effect as he catches the ball. Tip number 29, create your own keyboard shortcuts. If you go up to Edit and down to Keyboard Shortcuts, you can view all the shortcuts that Premiere has set by default, or you can create your own shortcuts from scratch. For example, let's change the F1 key to be a one-tap shortcut to nest clips. To do this, search for the action, in this case nest, and click this part here under Shortcut, and tap the key you want to assign the action to. So I'll tap F1, which changes the F1 key to now be assigned to the nest action. So now when we make a selection of clips and press F1, it will nest those clips. Another action I use quite a lot is scale to frame size, so I'll set that to F2. Now if I've got a 4K clip that I need to drag onto a 1080p sequence, it's too big, so it looks like it's zoomed in. If I now just press F2, it scales the clip down with one tap. And to help make working with keyframes faster, I'll also add ease out to F3, linear to F4, and ease in to F5. So now for instance, if I've got two keyframes, I'll select that first keyframe, just open this up so you can see, and now we can ease out in one tap by pressing F3. And then same for the second keyframe, just press F5 to ease in. So you get the idea. Each shortcut might be a tiny boost, but when you start to stack them together, that's when you'll see a big difference. That's all for now. See ya.